Hi everyone, today we're going to look at how to put on a drum head. And originally I was going to call this video how to tune a drum head, which is more or less the same thing, but I think in the world of drum tuning, there's so many finer points. And the purpose of this video is to put people at ease with how to even do this. Because whether you're a new drummer or percussionist, or your teacher who's responsible for a band and a percussion section, well, this video is really for you to kind of demystify this. And there's a lot of different reasons why this skill is helpful to have. First of all, if you break a head, you need to be able to take it off and put a new head back on. If something becomes loose inside the shell of the drum or even falls off, well, you need access. So you actually do need to take off one of the two heads to fix it. And also if it's just basic maintenance, so you want to maybe conserve the head, but you want to clean around the rim, get rid of any, I don't know what could have fallen there, or around the drum head, then that's also a chance. All right, so let's get started. We're going to put on the drum head. I'm actually using a wooden drum, like a wooden shell and a wooden rim. And so more common is, often a wooden shell, but wooden rims are a little bit less common, but they're pretty much the same steps. And when there's some differences, I'll point them out. Okay, so the first thing that we would do is put the head on. And I probably actually have this down somewhere else. But anyways, so I'm putting the head on. And in fact, I would use this opportunity as a chance to just check that everything is okay with the shell. And if you really want to go into detail, just to make sure that nothing is warped or that needs extra repair. All right, and so I've got the drum head on and everything looks fine. And now I'm going to put the rim on. And so you can either do that with the lugs already in or not. Mine are already in. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm just lining up the lugs. Those are these little metal rods that you can hear me jingling around. Okay, they're all lined up. And I just twisted them a little bit to make sure that each one is in. I'm going to even eye that. Just make sure you don't want to start turning all the lugs deeply and then finding out that one wasn't in. All right, so I see they're all in. I see that they're all aligned, and I also feel everything is aligned. It's obviously a lot easier to do when everything when everything is not warped, when everything is round. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to finger tighten to make sure these lugs are as tight as they can go with my finger. Okay, great. So now I'm going to use a drum key to start the pattern I'm going to show in the video. And normally, well, if we're talking about drum heads in general, they usually have 6 lugs, 8 lugs, or 10 lugs. And snare drums typically have 10. Funny fact, this one has 8. And so I'll show the patterns for 10 and 8. And what I've done just for this video, because I'll be talking as I'm doing, is I put a tiny little sticker there so I could kind of remember where one is. Otherwise, you can put, a finger. I just find even when I'm not doing a video, I tend to get distracted and then I forget where my one is. But maybe you're smarter than me, so you don't need to do that. All right, here we go. I'm going to do half turns. And that's the increment I'm going to start out with. So here we go, a half turn. Half turn. And so the pattern, you'll see what the pattern is. Now, there are some different patterns, but they all tend to, this is hard to talk and do at the same time, focus on this idea of tuning across the drum. And the reason why we do that is, here we go. The reason why we tune across the drum is you don't go adjacently because you want an even distribution of the tension. All right, so you go. That's the first cycle of half turns. And even though I know it's going to be too low, I tend to just do a little checkpoint to see. So I put a couple of fingers down in the middle, and I'll actually equidistantly go around each lug to see what kind of sound I'm getting. Okay, so they're actually pretty much the same. Sometimes it happens where one is significantly lower, rarely that one is significantly higher. And that just means that I probably wasn't paying attention when I was finger tightening. And so what I would do in this case, I would just slightly tune the lug that was a bit lower up so that as I continue the next cycle, things are evenly distributed. Here we go for the second round. Great. So we can hear that the drum is getting tighter. Something else that I do that, again, it was interesting talking with Rick Clem, was at this point, if it's a new head, I will gently press down on the head. And he's like, I never do that. And I'm not doing it here with a wooden rim, but I probably still would do it with a metal rim. And that just helps stretch a new head a little bit. But if you do that and you've never done it before, you might hear like this crinkly thing, like you're breaking it. You're not breaking it. It's just stretching out because it's new. Okay. Actually, that's not a bad sound at all. I'm going to do one more quarter turn. So at this point, it becomes a matter of taste and the kinds of styles that you're playing. I tend to like more mellow sounds. But really what you're aiming for is equality amongst the lugs. So that's how you put on a drum head. Another little rule of thumb, but again, it depends on the style that you're playing. With a snare drum, it tends to be that the batter head, the head that you hit, is tuned lower than the resonant head. That's the head that's on the bottom, that's attached, or that's next to the snares. But again, I'm sure there are tons of videos out there and tons of different approaches, and I really encourage you to explore them all. But actually, more importantly, to use your own ears and see what you're comfortable with. But the purpose of this video is to show you how to safely put on a head. And there's actually two other things I just wanted to point out. Some people will, especially if they're tuning a snare drum, they'll loosen the snares, and they'll put the snare drum stick between the snares and the bottom head so it doesn't create a rattle. And another solution you can do is whatever head you're not tuning is you put a cushion or a pillow underneath. And so I'm not doing that here, but those are some other approaches. And then the other thing I just wanted to point out before we end today is if you're taking off a head and you're hoping to conserve it, you basically follow the same pattern that we just did, but obviously you're turning counterclockwise. Okay, so that's the point of this video, just to help you put on a drum head, feel at ease, and show you that it's actually fairly straight ahead. So I hope this was helpful, and I look forward to the next video with you.